perspective and grasp on things. And then I went to practice, back trading this week, and I'm just back in the hole again. I feel like I'm not where I need to be. Penny would probably agree. She's done some trades herself. She's had, a couple of wins. I cleared off my journal and started over again. I archived it, the old one. And so I just don't know. I'm not at the confidence level I feel like I ought to be at. And it's kind of,
Disconcerting.
it's disconcerting. Yeah, I guess that's a good word. So that's where I'm at mentally. Now, I don't know if that's an uncommon thing, or, people experience that. I don't know. But anyway, just so you know that.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's raw. I think it's transparent, and I think it's a very powerful revelation to be able to be honest and assess where you are, because you have a lot more knowledge today than you did 2 or 3 months ago. And some reason it's just popping in me right now that I think we need to spend a little time on the daily charts. And what I mean by that is that's really your go-to for analysis and understanding that trend. Because when you mentioned the other day, hey, that previous day's high and low, you're like, hey, that's new. That really threw me for a loop, because our most important chart really is the daily, to kind of understand. So I kind of want to. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've been implementing all of that into and kind of, I even, I got a checklist here that I came up with so I can follow along kind of the pre-session steps, the during the session steps. So I and I'll maybe go over that with you, but I think today, number one, I want to get a trade in because I need to get a live trade in.
Okay.
If it's one share, whatever it needs to be, just so we're not having a hard breach. And
yep, that's fair.
And then from there we can just, if we have time, which I don't know that we will, because we only, you may get us started on the trade, I guess, and then we'll have to, close it out somehow. So I guess that's where we would start, unless there's something else you wanted to touch on first.
No, I actually deeply appreciate exactly what you just brought at me this morning. That shares so much and allows me to kind of focus. So I think we go back to that daily charts. I think there's just some fundamental conditions that you want to be able to grasp prior to going into a trade. That's going to be huge. Okay. I think that's going to be huge. We've got a unique condition with Tesla today, because I don't know. But with a big gap up that it had on Monday, and then we had the holiday yesterday, I am looking for a break on the previous day's low, looking from that daily chart perspective. And if it does break below that, I think we've got an opportunity. There's a big gap below that. What's unknown is the gap really is only a few days old because it was filled, last week. So it's a different gap than what we're used to seeing. But generally those gaps will come back down and test. And we're so far extended off the 10 EMA on the daily chart that it's got so much room to actually move down, Then I look at,
so it gapped up on Monday, you said, and we didn't really talk about gap up, but a whole lot. We were talking about bear, gap and go, bear retest, and that kind of thing. But it's just kind of the opposite, going the other direction, I guess.
Exactly. So our kind of our focus, I believe, where we are ending up is we're back at a daily chart. We'll talk Tesla real quick, and we're looking at that daily chart. It lets us know that, hey, if in fact, because of all that space below the gap up we had Monday, it was a bull candle. And so if it does gap down, then that's a bearish retest. But it went sideways. so much from the gap up on Monday.
Okay. You
that-
want to show me, your screen real quick, or do you want me to get Tesla up? Can you see Tesla on my screen now?
I can see Tesla on your screen. I definitely
All right.
can.
Okay. You want me to go to a daily, or just tell me what you want me to do?
Okay, just zoom out a little bit, because I really want you to get on your screen. We want to get the previous day's high. That is one of your probably most critical. So see, I got my little annotator. So this, we need to, oh, I'm sorry.
Right here? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right,
All
that is
right.
previous day's high. We're going to keep our eye on that. And then this previous day's low, we're keeping our eye on that. Because if we,
You want me to draw some lines?
yep, yes, sir.
Okay. So previous day, I usually do that green, that previous day low, right there. Okay.
Yeah, because, and another thing I'm just going to notice while we're right here.
Yep.
You've got your 200, your 50, your 10, your 20, and it's really in this area right here, this little box. So everything's kind of consolidated. That's beautiful. Everything's come back together. So are we going to break away from the 200? Or are we going to break away from the 200? Because we're going to break away. We just don't know, are we going to break away, retest, and is 200 going to become support, or is it going to break down, retest, and 200 going to, be resistance, or is it just break away? And if you zoom out a little bit more,
I'm not sure about what you mean by zooming out. Is that it?
there you go.
Okay.
Because here's the previous day's low, but if we could capture Friday, so I need to see, this is Monday. If we could like bring about Friday right in here. I want to, yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's see this over here, because now you're gonna have to like squeeze this all together.
Oh, I see. Okay,
That's
I
that
see.
big gap up.
Like that.
Yeah,
That
there
good?
we go. Yep. So here's that gap up. I'm sorry. Yeah. So here's where it closed, 4 p.m. I think on Friday, and it gapped up here on Monday.
Right.
Pre-market, and then it shot up, kind of created a new little high, and then for the most part kind of sideways. But this is all that space, if we look at the daily, that hey, it could come back and retest all this, and that would be again a bull candle Monday. If in fact it gaps down today, it could gap down, somewhere in here and come up and retest and continue. That's a way, but it's so bullish with that gap up. And we look at a few days prior, there really isn't a gap, meaning Tesla could be very bullish. So I'm not convinced that it's going to fill that gap today, is what I'm getting at. So, but I really am kind of biased towards breaking or Monday's low, becoming resistance today. And if we see that play out, we're going to go short. If we breach the previous,
wait a minute, Monday's low, let's see, that would be right, this green line. So that becoming resistant. So you think it's going to drop down and come back up and hit that and then go south?
I think it's going to come down and test that. And what we don't know is if it's going to be support or resistance.
Okay.
But we see it break through that and then consolidate, retest, and previous day's low becomes resistance.
Right.
Then I'm looking for a bearish 10 EMA entry.
Okay.
Okay. And if we go the other direction, previous day's high, before I go long, two conditions must be met. One, previous day's high needs to be breached, and I have new support from the previous day's high, or back to our other scenario, the previous day low is breached, but we confirm that previous day low becomes support. And if it becomes support, then I will go long. And we've got all that space between previous day's high, between previous day's low and high to go long.
Okay, so it sounds like you really do place a lot of emphasis on previous day low and high. And if you don't get support on the low, or in other words, you're making your judgment based on what the stock price does in relation to that previous day high or low. Otherwise, you don't do much of anything.
That is correct. That is correct. You know, that's kind of the conditions that it's rules based for me, and a lot of study of Jeremy Newsom, because again, and Tesla's creating some new highs that it hasn't seen in a long time. If I break previous day's high, I've got a bunch of bears that are trapped. If I break the previous day's low, I've got a bunch of bulls that are trapped. And then we also have momentum, because when you do break through resistance or support, you have some momentum. So there's really two things that those previous day high and low, and plus they're probably the closest within our current price of support and resistance. And so we talk about, hey, do you got your lines on your chart? You know, have you plotted support and resistance? Well, if we just start at the daily or weekly, we can easily plot a bunch of lines that just have no bearing on today's intraday trading activity. You know, so what are support and resistance that impact my life today that I want to make sure that I'm tracking?
Okay, so all right. Well, we're just about up. You want me to? I've got all my stuff open here up top, and once again, this Zoom thing wants to get in the way. But so we're just going to watch this thing. Where are we at here? 9:27. So
yeah, I'm showing. Yeah, I got
about ready to
9 on my end, so we're about
9:29.
Yep, about ready to go live.
All right, so I got my 8 cap open. I've got, you know, so that's pretty much all I need right now. So here it goes. Oh,
all right, so very, very bullish opening green candle coming off the 200. That to me speaks a lot, but it's real early, but that establishes a lot of sentiment, you know, right out of the gate. A little, you know, there's some selling pressure in there. There's some bears that are not letting it just run. But again, a big green candle, you know, blasting off the 200 is always significant to me. And a lot of times this can become your low of the day.
Low for the day. I remember you saying that, right?
Yep. Okay, so here's our pre-market high. That is significant also. That's going to be one of the first areas of resistance we want to confirm or deny as resistance.
I'm just going to stick a line in there so it's on the screen.
Yep. Yeah. And that's pre-market and previous days. Those are really 4 lines at a minimum that you probably want to, at this stage.
I always put them in. I put those in, and I'll go back a week and I'll put a black line in for the, you know, the low for that, basically that week, and the high for that last 7 or 8 days, you know. I don't know how if that's significant or not. Should I have all that, or should I just focus on these 4?
These 4 are your, in opinion, the most important. And then as you establish previous pre-market, in fact, is support or resistance, and we're now in the trade, well, we got to make sure we're zooming out and continually looking left. You know, what was maybe 2 days ago's high? You know, where's that next target?
Sure. Gotcha. I do that. Yep. And I do that when I'm back trading too. I'll slide back and see, seems to be, topping out here. Is this a high that was, a couple days ago or what have you?
Yeah. So we've got about 2 minutes into market. It looks like here's our high of our opening candle. It is still to be determined, but we haven't really breached even the pre-market high yet.
Right.
So there's a lot of indecision going on. A lot of volume.
A lot of selling pressure. Looks like still.
Yeah. Yeah.
40.
Okay, and look, we're getting down to possibly a new, that candle may open up, second session goes lower. Check that out. Yeah, that's pretty bearish, but here's our 200. Real curious of what we're going to have go on through here over the next few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. While we're watching, I guess I can ask a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. By the way, do you know what session number we're on? Is this 9 or 10? Or can you confirm that?
I can. I've got everything tracked on a document me and Jeremy share. Just off the top of my head without jumping out and jumping back in.
No, that's fine. If you let me know later. I mean,
yeah. Definitely will. And again, then we'll kind of based on how we kind of started this conversation this morning, I kind of want to do a good review on, make sure everything's covered. And
since you bring that up, let me just, so here's my notes for pre-session. I want to look at the daily chart for the last 6 months. I want to see where the stock is trading relative to the 200 moving average. Is there a bias, bullish or bearish, based on that chart? Then I'm looking at the 3-minute chart, looking at the last week or so, putting my support and resistance lines in, stretching it up to, like we're at here, where you can see all of the moving averages a little more clearly, and see how they're currently lined up, I guess. Kind of confirm the sentiment pre-market. Obviously, you're looking for the gaps and stuff too, if that's, factoring in that as well. Is there anything else? Is there anything I'm leaving out there? Or is that essentially, what I ought to be doing?
No, that's a really good, those are excellent. Those are foundational. All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, those, yep.
Okay.
Very, very strong ingredients.
All right. And then as we get into the session, if you have that big bull candle. Now, would you say a large bull candle is, it can look big on the chart, but it might not really be that big in terms of the stock itself? Like Tesla, it's a higher price stock. So percentage wise, it really doesn't, make up a whole great percentage of the where the stock value is right now. You're talking about something that just looks big, or
it kind of looks big, if in fact, like this original candle, if it would have actually closed up here, and this would have been, the body, opened here and it closed up here and then continued up, this would have been a large bull candle.
Okay.
It's a kind of a bearish candle, a shooting star. This has a lot more selling pressure than buying pressure. I mean, right off the gate, it did go up, and the bears come in and it's like, oh, heck no. It jumped over here in that session, and then it actually dropped down real close to this 200, and that's significant to me. But this second candle here, red, nothing but indecision.
Must spread this out. Yeah, we're not seeing stuff too clearly here. Okay.
There we go. Yeah. So this red one is 100% indecision. High wave, low wave, Looks like the bulls are coming in and saying, hey, we're deciding we're going to go bullish. And so now we
Yep.
kind of broke above this indecision candle there. So
Okay.
that's causing me to be a little bullish here, but here's our, pre-session high. We do have a kind of a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA here, indecision.
Yeah.
There's reasons to consider a bullish trade there. Where I'm real cautious, Dave and Penny, is again, I've got this big gap below the previous day low on Monday that I suspect Tesla wants to go down and possibly do a little retest on. I'm just not very bullish to shoot up.
I mean, it gapped
To
way
shoot
up.
up. Yeah.
Right. And so you just want some confirmation one way or another at this point.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
The volatility in the morning, Tesla as a whole is bullish. Man, I wasn't surprised to see something like this. And then it kind of peters out and then it come down fairly quick. I would not be surprised to see that. I just don't want to get too bullish here and I get in and then it just rejects and comes down real quick, because it could come right down to this opening low real fast. And then we're just behind all day. I'd rather not trade today than to get stopped out just with one or two candles with Tesla. And that's the challenge of not really being in a, Tesla's just got, earnings is coming up. That gap on Monday is what really very bullish, but it's got me cautious today.
Okay.
I'm more comfortable to play down here based on Monday's activity because of the gap on the daily chart that I am to continue to chase it up here.
Right. Right.
The unfortunate thing is we may sit here and watch Tesla go up, $4 previous day's high, and we missed out on some opportunities. But
that's I think what Dave keeps feeling like when he's doing these trades. He's frustrated.
Well, like I did Amazon yesterday, and it was actually consolidating, and it really looked like, hey, this is I just overall during the time I was back trading, Amazon's been bullish, and I said I ought to put a buy order in here above this bear candle. I didn't, because I just can't pull the trigger, and and there it went. I could have made some pretty decent money. But maybe as this goes, I can I'll give you my thoughts and you tell me if I'm on the right track, type of thing too. So now we're up above this pre-day high
market. Yep. So this is
that.
Pretty bullish. Our 10 EMA is clear down here now. Go ahead and talk, Dave. I'm gonna listen to you think here.
Yeah, no, that was just looking at that, and that's kind of significant, I guess. Although I've seen resistance lines get breached, and then that doesn't necessarily mean it's going higher either. So, or that's going to become support. So it's like at every step of the way, you're looking for confirmation. I feel like this is the dilemma. And then you miss, you're missing these opportunities. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. I'm wanting some confirmation. I'm trying to look at these moving averages and remember what you're talking about is in regards to the 200. Is it going to come back down and retest the 200? As the session wears on, you're looking at those as much as you are the static support and resistance lines. You're looking at these, what you call dynamic support and resistance, which I think that's a good way to describe it with the moving averages. And trying to just, disseminate all that, discern all that, it's kind of like a deer in the headlights, I think, type of a situation.
Yeah. That's it's fair, but where I'm excited for you is we have narrowed it down to so many things you listed, and you listed a lot of things where you practice that. You become very fluent in that language, and it won't be so overwhelming. So,
Okay.
so now you start out with just a couple things. It's simple. You're successful, and you and Penny were excited. And all of a sudden, we start adding all this other stuff, and then you kind of forget some of those first things that were mentioned, and start having this analysis paralysis that goes on.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe
That's
it, maybe.
common, you know. So
Okay.
now it's a matter of becoming just fluent to where it becomes part of your DNA to see that, because I'm even kind of kicking myself in the pants a little bit of not recognizing the breakout above this indecision candle down here, because now we look at all this bullish volume, you know, coming up away from the 200.
Well,
You know,
hindsight is 2020. Yeah, you
It
know.
is. It is.
So
But this is. Mhm.
you know, and often I've listened to all this stuff, and often I'll see these quick run-ups and think, well, there's nothing here that says I should short this because none of the rules apply. But surely this thing's coming down a couple of points and I could make a little quick money. But
Yeah. But then are we doing a counter trend trade, which actually is a little more risky than actually, hey, what is our trend?
right,
Have our
right.
conditions been met for a good 10 EMA trade to go into the trend?
Right.
And it is bullish. The trend is bullish.
Yeah.
You know, our daily chart is evidence of that. But the gap up Monday is evidence of that. It's just so extended on the high side. That's why I was a little cautious.
I'm just jumping over to the daily on Tesla here on the other tab. So yeah, it's
That's the space that I'm like, is that
it's
going to?
getting it's getting up near some previous resistance way back in, whatever that was, September 22.
Yep. This is so that's area.
Yeah, but it is coming back up above this high that it hit back in June.
Yep.
So that's kind of a breakout there, but now it seems like, is it going to retest that high from last year and keep going, or come back down type of thing?
Yeah.
Am I thinking about that right?
You are. Yeah, exactly are. Because I really do believe we are going to go up and breach those highs from last year. I think it's a lot of reasons to believe that. It's just we're day trading, and so what do we do each day on its way?
It's day by day.
Yeah, it's day by the day, but I really enjoy our discussion today. And again, I'm like, I would have looked like a pretty cool dude if I would have said, hey, look at this indecision candle. We want to look at a breakout above that. But again, when I go back to that big gap up and all that space below, I don't think I would change anything at this point.
Yeah.
I was really looking for, a run up early in the session today, and then I'm not going to be it could come down and retest the previous day's low. It could, but it's so bullish, it may not.
Right.
So it's a blast. And I think another thing, if there's something I could pass on this morning that might ease your pain, is
please do.
If I only traded maybe like 3 days out of the week, I'd be a lot more profitable.
Oh yeah.
And it's exercising a little more patience. If I have a plan, we kind of had a plan this morning. When it goes as we expect, it's a good day. But when we start changing our plan and chasing,
trying to force stuff,
that's where I end up probably making decisions that I look back and it's like, did I really follow my plan? And if it didn't go according to my plan, why did I enter the trade?
Yeah,
And
right.
I actually, when I look back and kind of do the math, I reduce, I have a much larger P&L. Let's just put it that way, much larger P&L.
Yeah, right.
If I
Right.
was to take those 2 to 3 days out of the week where we just have a clear trend, it moves a certain way and cut my trading in half, then I probably double, if not triple my P&L.
Yeah.
So between you and Penny, you guys, if you each have just 2 to 3 trades a week, following your rules, your plan, the conditions that you guys agree upon, I am very excited about what your story is going to be, 6 months, 9 months.
Encourage me, Jake. Encourage me. I appreciate it. I need it.
Yeah, it's so we
right.
back to Tesla now. Good consolidation taking place. Are we going to come down and retest the 10 EMA? We haven't breached the previous day's high or low.
No.
And let me throw that at you, because one of Jeremy Newsom's probably, I think 99% of the time, from a 10 EMA strategy perspective, he will not enter a trade unless that previous day's high or low is breached.
Okay.
And that's another area in my life that I am trying to grasp the power of that, because it's so tempting to get in early. And so as I back trade, I've done it every day, 2023 with Tesla, different strategies, and I'm just continue. That's my back trading journal. And the next thing, I'm going back to gaps to study that. But if I would have never entered a trade unless or until previous day high or low is breached, how does that change my P&L?
Right.
So those are some things that I really want you to kind of take away as you define your plan and your strategy, because not everybody completely agrees that, hey, must wait until that previous day high or low is breached.
Yeah.
But it definitely has some strong merit.
Okay. Okay.
And again, it's that trapping that's taking place when you all of a sudden are above, yesterday's bulls. And I'm sorry, there's momentum if you're above yesterday's bulls, but if you open above like a bear candle, you gap above that, where all those bears are now trapped. So what's the sentiment there? Well, that's very bullish sentiment, and that's where that gap and go kind of comes into play when we do breach previous day's high, especially when it was a bear candle.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was looking for today. We had if we were to breach the previous day low with that gap up with a bull candle on Monday, all those bulls would have been trapped, and there would have been some momentum. Our first 20 minutes of today's session, that's not how it's playing out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be one of the trapped bulls by getting in right now. I'd rather not trade today than become a trapped bull.
Right.
That's my caution today. And these 3 red candles we're looking at now, Dave and Penny, are kind of establishing a little bit of credence. But again, it's also very healthy retest, to close that gap from current price down to our 10 EMA.
Right.
But how far down is it going to come? It could come down and retest our opening price, our kind of low of the day. I'm very curious.
Yep.
This is a blast. I hope you're appreciating this. This is a lot of fun, actually.
No, it's good to see it live. We haven't yet, and it kind of, you have more time to think about stuff than you really think you do, even when you're day trading, because you know, every candle's 3 minutes worth, but you gotta wait for certain conditions. You're not, it's not like you're on pins and needles, or you have to be. I think Penny's been a little bit worried about that, having to, you know, wow, things are, you know, if you're you're day trading and you're doing it live, I just, you know, I'm not going to make a decision when I need to. But you do have time. This is proving to, you know, here we are sitting talking about all this stuff and just waiting on confirmation of things. And so,
Yep.
yeah. So now let me make sure I get this, because your video was really helpful on the bear gap and go. That's when you've got a bull candle from the previous day that gaps down, and you're looking for, usually you're looking for a quick retest of that gap, not necessarily all the way up to not filling the gap, but just kind of a quick retest, and then you're looking for it to go down, and you're looking for a bearish trade there, right?
Yeah, on the bear gap and go, our conditions require a previous day bull candle.
Correct.
And, you know, and then it gaps down, and it doesn't
Right.
matter the opening candle is green or red or bear or
Green or
bull. It
red.
gaps down following
Yep.
a previous day's bull candle. That is your gap and go. Because the
Okay.
sentiment right there is people were bullish when the day ended, the prior day, and when it gaps down, they are buying to cover. They're getting they're trapped, and so there's just there's a lot of bearish sentiment there. But that initial small retest on a bearish gap and go are the traps, you know, kind of getting covered, or those taking profit, and then it continues downward.
Question. So on that retest, are you generally looking for just like half of the gap being filled, or not even that, or it can vary a little bit?
So if it's a retest, meaning I have the previous day candle was a bear, and then it gaps down. That's again where we go back and we have lines, and we've done all our analysis on the daily chart.
Correct.
Looking left, and a lot of times, you know, just a wick that is kind of reaching down to a certain area, maybe sometime during the previous day or previous few days. I'm going to be very interested in the retest going up to close that gap. So if I put a line across, or like where a target on that retest, it's going to have some other touch points going to the left. So I'm really looking at that gap kind of being filled, and it might just be wicks on the daily chart, not the bodies of candles. But the previous day's low might just be a wick, and I may not go up to the body of that candle, but I'm going to retest up to that area.
Okay. Okay. All right. Right. And so that on that, you would be, you're looking to, if there's enough of a gap, you're looking for a bull trade there that would take you up to that retest point, right?
Yes.
On the bearish retest.
Yeah, because the example that I showed you in particular, it gapped down very strong, and that was a pure bear retest gap.
Yeah.
Opened up with a strong bull candle, and it took the entire day session bull trending up to actually complete the retest.
Okay.
You know,
so let me ask you right there then. So if that occurs, you get your first candle, what are you looking for? Are you immediately looking for a, you know, a bullish 10 EMA setup, or are you looking for it to maybe jump up and then come back down and confirm that low, or that starting point for the day.
Yeah, on
I don't know
that
if I'm
particular
making,
trade back, I think on 1920 April. Again, it was that opening candle, very bullish. We retested, I think, with a bear candle. So basically went, even our 10 EMA was pointed way down. It hadn't had a chance to really settle in, but we'd breached the previous day's low. So we just entered above bear candles above the opening bull candle. So in other words, we had evidence of very bullish sentiment based on the kind of the opening range.
right.
And we entered above that the bear candles. And I can't remember off the top of my head if we actually on that particular, I believe we did wait until our bear candles did interact with the 10 EMA and we entered above a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA. And then that retest just played out through the entire day's session on that particular example.
Okay.
That really was just a textbook bearish retest, and we played the retest because again, Tesla overall is bullish. And so that was just kind of mouth watering.
Yeah. Okay.
Type of condition, but and that's where the size of your gaps do have a lot of play. Another thing I want us to capture, maybe not this morning, but a lot of times when you have a big gap down or a big gap up, a lot of times your price action for the day is done in the first 30 minutes and it goes sideways the rest of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where that retest back on like 19 April, not entering long until we knew we were not going to go sideways, based on the bullish momentum above that opening range. That become very significant. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can touch on that maybe again. I'm just trying to get the basic understanding of what you're looking to do in those situations in my head. So yeah, it looks like we're cut. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I really like it because on my heart the last few days, I'm thinking of I want to actually do a video just on the daily charts to draw people's attention to hey, what are the conditions we're really looking at on the daily charts as we before we drill down, the market opens. Now we're at our 3-minute scale. I'm really going to keep you in my mind when I do that. But I think it's foundational. I'm getting ready to start a new group. And I really want to make sure everybody kind of starts there. And then we kind of build from that, because we start every day's activities by understanding what's going on in the daily charts. We start every day's activities by plotting support and resistance, which is the previous day's high and low. And then many times our pre-market session, becomes support and resistance. And I think I can tie some of this together, and I'm really going to keep you in mind as I work that video, and I will share that with you.
Thank you. Sounds good. What are you seeing here now?
I'm seeing bearish opportunities. I mean, that again, that's kind of a hammer playing out right now. It's still the body's resting above the 10 EMA, but that bull candle is kind of indecision. But
now, wouldn't you maybe
I think
be
we might have
looking
seen the high of the day? I'm not bullish on Tesla at this moment in time.
mainly because of the gap from that other.
But yeah, because of my pre-market analysis, and maybe I've got a bias already towards that gap, and I just my confidence of
Going much higher is
chasing
not.
Tesla today. I'm concerned. I'd rather miss out on a run today than to get trapped because I'm bullish, and it's just and so. Like if we would have played that opening range, you look at that opening candle, if we would have like entered there, well, we're now back to where we would be at zero actually
Right.
losing a little bit of money. So
Yeah.
there was
So-
an opportunity on that second candle indecision that we talked about, but that tweezer top, meaning this right here and these two tweezers, that's where I would have got out most likely. Just again, knowing Tesla, understanding the sentiment with these two candles, and again, because of the gap that exists way down there, from last Friday.
Right.
But this
Right.
is bullish right here. I mean, there's a little buying pressure coming in. We're kind of just retesting our VWAP and your 20 moving average. And so
That's what I was going to say. I've been trying to keep an eye on that, and it seems, well, it actually seemed like with that previous little bear indecision candle, it was just going to bounce off the 10.
Yeah.
But now we're down to the 20. I mean, the VWAP. And yeah, that's part of it is I can look at any of the trades I've tried to do and any charts I've looked, gone through the back trading, and I'm looking at, okay, I see all of these moving averages, and sometimes I can never see any consistent price interaction with the moving averages. It just seems to be very random almost. There's nothing that's really ever consistent. Yeah, sometimes it comes down, bounces off the VWAP, or there's support, or there's resistance there, or the next day or the next stock, it's or next situation. Well, now it seems like it's interacting more with the 200, and that's more important. So I find myself, again, analysis paralysis. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of those are valid statements. And I think one of the way to summarize maybe or differentiate VWAP 200. When I look at my daily chart and I'm coming up with my overall plan of the day, that's where that previous day candle, previous day high and low, and 200. Where is the price in relation to my 200 at the start of this session?
Okay.
At that point there, really not worried about the 200 much more. It's always on my chart because it's going to come back to the 200. And that's why I love it. I will keep it on there. But once I'm away from the 200, I'm now making intraday decisions, based on my 10 EMA. Okay. And then what's the relationship of my 10 EMA to my 20? Do I have good spacing? Is the 10 EMA above the 20, or is it horizontal? Like right now, your 10 is starting to go sideways, and your 20, or I'm sorry, actually your 10, it's going sideways. And if it starts pointing down below your 20, that's my intraday moving average analysis that I'm watching closely. If my 10 keeps pointing up and bounces off the 20, well, now it just says, hey, actually, I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish. But right now we've got the last one. We do have that red bear hammers candle, a little bullish, but look at the two high wicks, even though they're bull candles surrounding that, there's a lot of selling pressure there.
Right.
Tesla's having a hard time, breaking above this pre-market high. It blasted through it, and now it's retesting the pre-market high. And that's, again, remember those three things I wanted you to write down. Pre-market high. Okay, we did break through it. It's coming down to retest and consolidate. Is that now going to be support, or is that going to become resistance? So if we cannot break higher above that pre-market high, and we start observing pre-market high as resistance, now we're back to, hey, do we have a good 10 EMA to go short? So that's why, again, this pre-market is equally important to that previous day's high, because it looks like, based on our first 37 minutes here, that our pre-market high is, we broke through that and it's consolidating and it is retesting it. We just don't know if it's going to become support or resistance at this point.
Okay.
And I hope that helps. So
Yeah. So yeah, it confirms what I think I knew you said, and I actually have
Yep.
it on my
yeah.
on my
So our
checklist,
pre-market high right now is really our 10 EMA. Look how things are sitting on the 10 EMA, but there's a lot of bearish sentiment kind of holding it down between pre-market high and a horizontal 10 EMA. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for a 10 EMA entry, to go short here. The problem is we haven't breached a previous day high or previous day low.
Right.
And
So are you more? You're not hard and fast on that rule necessarily, like maybe Jeremy is, but you do look at it very heavily. Is that accurate?
I am, because I need to define what is Jake's rules going to be. I got away from that for the longest time, and as I back study and appreciate Jeremy Newsom's perspective on that, I'm like, man, why am I trying to think I'm smarter than he is? And I just need to make sure I have my reasons and I'm consistent with my plan. And so I want to throw that out to you and Penny, because if in fact he as the master of taking people that are not very experienced with trading and say, hey, here's the conditions that I feel are going to give you the greatest probability to be consistent in short amounts of time, we have to put some weight on that, Dave and Penny.
Right.
We got to understand what the teacher's saying. And so
Right.
I have to share that, even though I may not have that as a hard rule in me yet, because I work in a W-2. There's so much opportunity in that first hour of the market. And so I found myself looking for 10 EMAs and maybe riding up to previous day's high or shorting down to previous day's low. But I'm not positive that over time that is the best
I hear
strategy.
you.
I am trying to understand that myself to come to terms, but I have to share that is a rule that he teaches, and that's very important for you to consider in your back trading.
Okay. Well, what are you seeing here now? It looks like we're definitely well, I don't know how that candle's going to end up, but it's down below the VWAP now.
Yeah, it sure is. Here's this.
So now you'd kind of be, let me see if you would agree. Now we might be looking at coming back up and retesting the intraday high there.
The pre-market high?
The pre-market, yeah. I don't know why I said intraday. Pre-market, yeah.
Yeah.
Post pre-market, yeah.
I think this consolidation right around the pre-market high, and it's kind of making a decision here. Yes, could it definitely come back up here and then go down? That's very possible. Or this consolidation / retest, and I use those interchangeably on my three rules, meaning we breached previous pre-market high, we came down and retest / consolidation. I use those interchangeably. And then from the retest or consolidation, which direction is it going to go? Here, it's telling us. So because of this consolidation, we may not actually come up and retest this again. We may come up and retest our 10 EMA and go down, but there's a lot of bearish sentiment taking place right here.
Okay, so you'd be maybe looking for that green candle setting up underneath the 10 EMA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keeping in mind, here is some very clear resistance or support that we've got to keep in mind.
Right.
Previous day low right here. That's where I really have got my mindset on, because if this becomes support, I'm going long. But if this becomes resistance because of the gap, you know, there's nothing to stop it to go down about $6-7. You know, but again, we could be on an inside candle day and Tesla could just do this all day long. And if that's the case, I'm proud that we did not enter a trade.
Uh-huh.
And you know what I mean by inside day candle?
Yeah, inside the
If
maybe
you do not reach previous day high or previous day low all day long, then when you go back to the daily chart at the end of a day session, you're going to see an inside candle, meaning the high of today and the low of today is inside the previous day's low.
Yeah. Okay.
And all that tells you is that it was basically choppy all day long.
Right.
And that really is probably your main reason to consider that previous day high and low breach. Let's make sure we've got some momentum bias on today's activity. But right now, we've got kind of choppy sideways bias going on. You know, we need go past here, you know, and we've got to break this kind of bullish sentiment low area here, or we're just going to be sideways, and we're going to bleed with a bunch of paper cuts if we enter trades too early. We do not have a trend right now.
Okay. Do you, now I imagine you do some swing trading as well.
Yep.
Do you follow this? Is it the same rules on swing trading?
Yes, sir.
Pretty much. Okay.
10 EMA on the daily chart, you know, double tops, double bottoms, you know, that's where you kind of get into a little bit of the head and shoulders, you know, look left quite a bit, but you know, double bottoms in particular, and then a good 10 EMA bear candle closing above the 10 EMA on a swing trade. Just use the same R unit based on a daily chart, and it reduces the buying power slightly, but again, you're not tying up your but I usually only have about one swing trade at a time going on, just to maintain my buying power within my day trading account, if that makes sense.
It doesn't, but maybe it will eventually. I won't ask you to explain it right now because I'll get confused probably, but just mainly wanted to know about the rules. And so as we get going in this, we're primarily going to be focusing on the day trades, but I guess eventually we can move into some swing trades if we feel like we.
Yeah, and that's part of your package. I want to make sure that we do spend quite a bit of time, you know, your swing trading, you know, short-term investing and long-term investing. You know, we need to have some discussions, conversations on that. So
Okay. So one question on the swing trading. I as we're watching this, it looks like we're coming back up over the pre-session high.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but I noticed, just going back and looking at daily charts, it seems like the VWAP crossing the 10 EMA, either to the upside or the downside, is very significant. Would that be true? I mean, I've looked, you know, I've spent a lot of time, but I've gone back and just looked at daily charts on the stocks we're following, and it just, as I go back, it seems like, man, every time that VWAP either goes down through or comes up through, that's pretty much bet that it's going to have a little bit of a run. What is my thinking on that? Faulty or what?
No, you're all over it. You know, again, we get a lot of volatility here today, like with Tesla, and see how your 10 EMA is it broke out above your VWAP, early today. So
Right.
10 EMA above VWAP, it come down, pointed to the VWAP, but like right now it's up and away from the VWAP.
Yeah.
Two candles, you had a bull candle close below the VWAP, but it rejected it right away. And now look at these two bull candles going back above the VWAP. So that everything you just said is on point. This VWAP right now, is indicating some bullish. So it's indicating support, for Tesla right now. We're above the VWAP. As long as it stays above the VWAP, we're kind of looking to go bullish trades. Where if we would have continued below this VWAP, then we're not going to go bullish. We're going to look for short. And again, we were looking at this pre-market, is that support or resistance? And now we're talking VWAP. So I understand the confusion, but understand your question that this VWAP, just when you look at VWAP all by itself and candles and the interaction with the VWAP, that is a great study to validate what you just briefed a moment ago of what you've seen. Because as standalone criteria, when VWAP is support and candles continually bounce off, we're only going to enter long trades. If we enter short, we're really entering counter trend trades. When 10 EMA breaks below, or the candles break below the VWAP, and the VWAP is resistance, we're only going to enter short trades. If we go long below the VWAP, then we are actually trading counter trend until we have a very strong reversal, criteria met where we want to ride that momentum back up through the VWAP.
Well, I don't know, maybe I wasn't clear. It was mainly the daily charts that I was looking at, not the 3-minute, and just noticing that and maybe we can next session we can take a look at that. It's easier to show you. I've got this Tesla open here. Let me just go over here to this. Okay, so yeah, like right here. See, like down here, the VWAP comes up back through here. It's that, so if you're swing trading, not that it's always happened, but you can see down here, VWAP comes up through, and then you got this run. Even here, it comes down through it. Even this little section here comes down through it. I mean, it does chop around here, but comes down through, retests it. It seems like every time the VWAP goes over it, heading up, or through it heading down, it'd be a good time to maybe day trade it. I don't know. Am I making sense? Or
yeah, I'm processing here because VWAP on a daily chart, because it shoots up to the candle. So that's why there's a lot of vertical moves on your VWAP on the daily chart. And I have to understand the math on that, because I don't know if we really, with the particular settings on this VWAP on your daily chart, are you seeing a large enough sample of the actual volume weighted average price on the daily chart, because every time a candle jumps up, well, your VWAP jumps up. Well, if you really take 100 days of a volume weighted average price, your VWAP is not that volatile. But so it's telling you what did happen. I don't believe it's a leading indicator in this context, but it definitely tells you what did happen. But I'm struggling to
I get what you're saying.
Utilize that as a
feel like Yeah, I feel like that's something you can rely on.
Yeah, because if you go in and look at your settings, and I'm going to do that probably after today also, and then look at VWAP on a daily chart, but I need to change the period and probably, cover, hey, 30, 60, 90 days versus,
Huh.
having it be tied to like that smaller time frame. And that VWAP is
Oh.
going to flatten out substantially. You won't see it so choppy because VWAP is not near as choppy as like a 10 EMA is. It's very
Okay.
smooth. So you just happen to see on the daily chart, really what it looks like on your smaller time frame. So
Okay.
it's
Okay. I
telling
think
you
I
what did
kind of,
happen. Yeah.
I get what you're getting at. Not that I understand it, but in other words, that may be really not accurate, and it's not necessarily something you would use as an indicator. It's, it looks like that now looking back on it, but
It tells us what did happen, that's for sure. But I'm
Yeah.
right now, I'm not comfortable
okay.
saying that is a good indicator for our day trading.
Okay.
The daily
Well,
chart.
not day trading, for swing trading.
Or swing trading, right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Your double bottoms, double tops, your 10 EMA, direction of your moving averages, relationship to VWAP, all together is like, yep, here's a good 10 EMA trade.
Okay. All right. Well, here we are, and looks like we're kind of double topping maybe, and
Well, we have a lower high.
we
And
do.
when we did come and break through this pre-market, wick down close to your 50, even below VWAP, and then it comes back up. If this is a lower high, we can expect some of this.
Okay, so generally lower highs are bearish and higher lows are bullish.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Generally,
Yes,
not
yeah.
not always, but okay.
Right. Our
Nothing is
probability.
always.
Yeah, exactly. And that's wisdom right there, Dave. That's wisdom.
Yeah.
But our probability to consider going short a little bit later is when if this is now the high of the day and we got a lower high, and this kind of comes down and we get another like lower high, we're looking for some 10 EMA opportunities. And if our highs are lower, and our 10 starts pointing down and comes back down through the 20, we've got a short bias. And we would consider, exiting a trade. The angst that I have today is our previous day highs clear up here, previous day's lows clear down here. I just don't want to be trading Tesla sideways.
Yeah.
Is it the idea that it's 4th of July week? There's a lot of people on vacation. It may not be an extremely active week for a lot of folks, and things like that. Overall market sentiment, the volume, what are people doing? It's summertime, it's July, 4th of July week.
Yeah.
It may save a lot of money by not being too ambitious today and forcing a trade.
Right. Okay. All right. So if we don't actually enter one here, then
we will. Even if it's one share of Tesla, we're going to find some good 10 EMA. We're going to go one share in your 8 cap.
Okay.
And I would love to see.
Yeah, just to walk through that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So even right in here, we might be looking for a bearish setup, since we've got a lower high, like you said, and
yeah, if we could get a bear candle. Let's see, I'm going to go green here. If we could get like a bear candle closing somewhere below this 10 EMA here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with a stop, up maybe above like this area here,
Yeah.
possibly even the high of the day. And
Yeah.
then if we could see, you look at if we could get at least a 1 to 1.2 ratio down
Yeah.
here, even before we hit the 200 moving average, that's not a bad trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got good risk to reward ratio before, you run into some strong, support, being your 200, because you can kind of see that all along here.
Right.
Again, we're trading on an inside day candle, a lot of sideways action. That's the only thing that I'm not real excited about today's activity.
Yeah.
But again, for us to know this and make decisions based on that, how much money we're saving in the long run and protecting our bottom line. There's wisdom in having that knowledge, Dave.
Okay.
There's a lot of, should be a lot of confidence. We'll know at the end of the day, if we're right or not. But with 4th of July week, it's middle of summer. Right now, we've got sideways activity going on. This is where, hey, what other stocks are we watching? We got maybe that 3 to 5 stocks, and maybe there's some momentum going on Amazon that we haven't looked at, or some other things. But Tesla went bullish right away, which is pretty normal. But because of that gap, I'm not going to chase it bullish. I'm not going to be a trapped bull today. That's my number one rule. I woke up this morning, I'm not going to be a trapped bull.
Right.
I missed out a little bit, on a 0.5 or something, but I'm not a trap bull right now.
Right.
But
on
next
this
couple days, I'll look for that possible break below Monday's low, because that gap's huge. I think there's a great opportunity to play out over the next few days. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I'm looking at my ACAP here. My login. I got my password. I don't. It's my login.
That's the number.
That's the account number.
That is the account number. That same email where your password was delivered. You have that account number right there.
Okay. Boy, this Zoom thing that comes down here is so hard to. I don't know what the secret is of getting that to go up like it does. It just kind of does it.
What happens when you hit escape? Does it take you out of full screen mode? And then you can kind of drag it right and left to maximize your horizontal space, and then just kind of drag it down a little bit to keep the top of your toolbar, like you got the tabs up here visible now.
Yeah, I got over to my email, so I don't know. That was the main thing right now. I want to get back to that, wherever that is. Hopefully, I've got it saved in here. It's probably over at here. Well, I'm trying to find that email, Jake, and I'm not sure why it wouldn't be here. Right at the bottom of it. It's all that stuff. That's annoying.
What email are you looking for?
The funding email, it's got the account number
Can you,
in it, and I have no idea why.
does it have that in the line? You could search it. Search the email, like if it has funding in the.
You like funding. Oh, that's crazy. I can't even.
What date What day was it sent?
That,
I
that
don't-
funding email, I think that was it, Dave.
Where at?
I think you typed funding, had funding in the subject. I think there was 3 emails grouped together. Yeah, just type funding right there. No, shoot.
What else was in that thing? I know it said funding in the,
Yeah, that's what jumped out at me.
Maybe you don't capitalize it. Does that make a difference? What was
maybe.
the date it was sent? Okay.
It's so annoying. I cannot believe that I would not save that
Who
over
sent it to you?
in
Did Jake send it to you?
it
Jeremy
just
Ritz.
it came from real life trading, I
Okay,
think.
so
Yeah,
real life.
yep. You're right. Session 9 8 cap. What's okay? I remember that conversation.
I've got my password in here in my phone. I saved that. Oh, it would be, oh, wait, it would be on the real life trading page, dashboard right here, right? There it is.
That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
unbelievable.
Okay, so that's your
How do I,
how do we get to trading from there?
Post it somewhere.
yeah,
Right click. Copy.
Oh yeah, because that's the account number. You've already got the
copy.
portal up, so that is the account number. That's the number that goes in, and you have your password. So that is it.
258-9670. Okay. Do I have to hit demo or no? Just hit-
Demo is accurate. You want 8 cap demo for your server. There you go.
Okay.
8 cap demo. MetaTrader 5 default is correct. You should hit OK. And you should be good to go.
I don't know what happened there.
Well, probably something isn't right, either your password or something.
What do we have? Authorization allows to get access. Sometimes it can take a minute. Just click on demo to bring everything alive, but everything looks correct. ACAP demo, MetaTrader 5. Yeah, we cancel out of that. Definitely don't need in there. And so what happens when you hit OK? It just
It goes boing.
okay.
Check your password.
Let me check my password again.
Yeah, so we're getting this authorization failed right here.
ABA, that's what I've got. And that's what I got for real life trading. I don't know if that's the same.
It's definitely different. Definitely different. Your 8 cap
Well,
password.
yeah, I know that's different. I'm just not sure what when I make my notes about my passwords, I put RLT, but I'm not sure if that's this RLT or the other RLT. So I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, this one here is one that you did not create or change. It was given to you, and I haven't figured out how to change it. Where your real life trading training dashboard is something you controlled, you created yourself. So if you got like a crazy whiskey number, alphanumeric number that you have no way of memorizing because you didn't create it, that's the password you're looking for.
Well, you talking about the initial one they gave me in the, like it's a temporary one type of thing?
Yep, for this account here, I don't believe you would have changed that. Whatever they gave you is what it should be today.
Well, and that's where I gotta go back and find that. All right, well, she's gonna look in my phone for that. Where are we at here? We're not seeing anything yet.
No, possible, here's your 10 EMA pointed down. Here's your
Well,
VWAP.
there was that candle right there.
Yeah, is that let's see here, does that close above or right below the? Yeah, it was still slightly above our 10 EMA, but very close,
Yeah.
and it's going to be, it's got a lot of
That came in.
bullish, bearish sentiment
Let's
kind of
see.
going.
On the 13th or something. Huh?
I think that might be it.
Okay, maybe I got the password here.
These little hammerish candles wicking below are always interesting to me also.
So,
If you click that eye, you can actually see your password right then, so you can.
there we go. Now, it doesn't have the stocks in there that I put in there before, though.
Well, let's add one. You click on this little symbol thing right here,
Yeah.
and let's get Tesla. Yeah, just type in TSLA there.
Just double click it.
Yep. Highlight it and then come over here and click on show.
Okay, it's over here now, so good.
That's it. Then we come back over here, right click, and then we'll select show chart, and that will populate. I'm sorry, over here, Dave, on Tesla itself.
Oh, right click on Tesla itself. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that will bring up the chart window. Yep, click on that.
Chart window. Okay.
Yep, and now we've added it. So now you can right click here and then
Okay.
select your timeline of say like 5 minutes. And that way we at least got something that's close to our 3-minute time frame from TradingView that we're wanting to look at.
Okay.
All right, so another thing you could do real quick is if you wanted to hit this insert,
Where?
this right up here,
Yeah.
insert, and then indicators,
Okay.
trend.
Accelerator.
Yep, trend.
Oh, trend. Okay.
Yep, and then moving average. We're just going to throw a 10 EMA on there real quick, so we'll at least have some type of visual indicator. Change that period to 10, and then method to exponential. All right, so now you got at least a 10 EMA here on your ACAP account. So
Okay.
here's a bull candle, 2 bull candles closing below your 10 EMA. That's where we are right now.
All right, let me go back to okay. So this one might shape up to be a good entry, maybe. I don't know.
It's very possible. We really do have kind of a bearish trend. We got a lower high. You know, our pre-market session is looking like it's going to be resistance again. It's
Yep.
bear candle closing off of that. So a rule based entry here is, you know, here's your first candle closing below the 10 EMA right here. Here you get your interaction with a bull candle back in the 10 EMA, which is what we're really after.
Right.
You know, this is where, you know, you could consider, you know, kind of pre-flatting your trade. But here's really your kind of entry criteria, but we want to see 10 EMA work as resistance for our short trade. But here really is your, if we do have our price come back down to trigger a trade here, all these bulls are trapped. All these bulls are trapped.
Well, and we have higher lows here, but we also have lower highs here right now. So it's kind of like consolidating a little.
Yeah, we got higher lows and lower. You're exactly right. And, you know, and this is kind of a hammerish candle right there. And that's where our price action around this 10 EMA is really going to be valuable information, because you see this bear candle trapping this indecision candle there.
Yeah.
And this almost, this is an inside candle, but the body of this candle is engulfing this bear candle. So right here is not a bad, especially for that one trade, you know, if you want to put in a few shares.
Okay.
We are kind of following a rules-based entry there.
All right. All right. So what should I do?
Okay, so let's get your short tool.
Yep. It's already. Yeah.
Look at that. That's all right. Put your short tool. We kind of want to drop it right in there. And then drag this up. Let's make our stop right up in this area right here. So drag this corner up here. Then we drag this down to where this says about 1.2. All right there.
That's a 1 right there.
Yep.
You want this up a little higher maybe, or is that about right?
I think this is a very solid pivot point right up in here. So that's not bad. It's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
All right. So then right click here, and that's going to bring up the actual properties that you have right here.
Oh, right click.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. And then do what?
Settings down here at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And that's what I wanted to look at here. So we just got to make sure these settings are good here. Let's change this percentage to dollars.
Oh, which percentage? Oh, this.
Yeah. And you were correct to start at the top and work down. Change this to like 250,000 because that's
Here?
your lever. Yep.
Okay.
And then make this whatever your R unit's going to be.
Oh, just 500, I think, is what we've been doing. Lot size, is that 0.01 then?
Not applicable here. You'll be fine because what
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
what I want to show you is you can click OK now. And what's kind of cool, based on your risk unit, your stop here, your entry here is saying 214 shares.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you've got a calculator where you can determine that manually. or you just use this long tool exactly as we just walked through it with those settings. So, you know, right away, my risk unit of 500, I could buy 214 shares with an entry price here and a stop price here.
And it looks like we missed it too.
Yeah, we did. And that's okay. You know, here's,
Okay.
You know, this is where that sell limit, you know, is pretty cool. Meaning if we were still going to 8 cap and we wanted to do a sell limit because our price is down here, we expected to go back up to where we wanted to enter.
Yeah.
Then come back down. That way we're not going to chase anything. But we
Okay.
definitely have a very bearish bias going on with Tesla.
But it could come back and yeah.
Yeah. We want to see our price come back to the 10 EMA before we enter. And that's what would have been valuable right here. So we just got to exercise a little patience here.
Okay.
You know, and it's continuing to go down, and then we, you know, our original plan of the day was kind of to see how far up Tesla was going to go. We never did breach the previous highs of the day, and then it's starting to work down. So actually, I mean, it's playing out the way we kind of thought about it early this morning. You know, here it is. We're going into an hour and 12 minutes after market open before we enter our first trade. But here's a little hammerish looking candle here. This could have a little
Bounce.
Yep. To bring it up there. So
should we?
I
Just
would
put
be
in-
curious if you want to do like one share just to get a trade in.
Uh-huh.
I would be very tempted to do like one share, a sell limit, to see if we can't get triggered in for that one share at the price that we wanted to get in on our
Okay.
10 EMA. So we're still following our rules and our price entry criteria. And we're not going to chase it. This is very bullish. So you got just a quick moment here. It might just wake up in here and then come back down again. Let's try it. So you need to write down those numbers. Write down 282.28 is your stop. That's this number over here.
282 what?
And 28 cents, 282.28.
282.28. Yeah.
Okay, your entry price of, I believe that's whatever this is right here.
279.95. Yeah.
Okay, and then your target is the 277.63.
All right. Okay.
Okay, and then we'll jump back over to ACAP. We've got all our inputs, everything we need to actually enter into ACAP.
Okay. Probably can. All right. Right click.
Right click. Yes, sir. Okay, trading.
Yeah.
Okay, new order.
New order.
Okay, market execution, change that to pending.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're going to do a sell limit.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so do a volume. Let's leave that at 0.01. That's just one share.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can copy and paste or manually input your price that you want to purchase, so that whatever that price was, like
279.95.
Yep.
All right.
And then put the same thing in your stop limit price.
It's not letting me go in there.
Okay, leave it blank. Leave it blank. Stop loss. Let's get that in there. That's a soft breach rule. Must have that stop loss, and that's because we didn't have a sell limit in there.
0.28. I thought this was your stop.
No, my stop is the 277.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm going. Wait a minute. Now I'm getting confused. My stop is the 280. Okay.
That's why I said right now. Stop.
stressing me out, this thing.
Mhm. This is a great exercise. Yep.
280, 228. Okay.
All right, then we got to get our take profit in there. I think that was your 277 something.
Right. Okay. Place.
Okay, and yeah, expiration good till today or good to cancel. I default that to today. That way, if I get distracted and walk away, I don't want it to stay in there overnight. There you go.
Okay.
Get place. And so you have now entered a trade. It's not filled, so it must be for us to meet that 30-day criteria. But hit okay right there.
Oh.
And then here's what's kind of cool is, that's where practice is going to come in. But check out this wick of this candle. It went up to your
Not
limit
making it go
price,
away.
come back down.
Hang on, Jake. I'm trying to get okay clicked and I can't get back to my 8 cap because of this thing. I gotta figure out how to solve that problem.
Okay.
All right, I'm in.
Okay, you're in. So we've got the beautiful. Okay,
Looks like it's coming back.
look at that. Look at that. If we can get it to go back up to our sell limit price and get triggered in, look at the patience we exercise. We did a sell limit, which is a little bit different than the sell stop that we normally probably back trade with. It's just a matter of a couple pennies, but that would be kind of cool to see that play out here today. That's why I really do.
Yeah, the sell limit is only gonna execute the trade at that price we end.
Yep. It will not fill your order unless it goes back up to your sell limit price. And we put
How do I know it's filled?
Let's go back to ACAP and it'll tell us. Right here, you're in.
Where do you see that?
We know because right here, if you look at your profit, it's no longer saying placed here. So once you hit OK, it said placed, but now here's an actual time. You're shorting, so you got a sell, you got 1 share. Here's your actual price. Here's your stop loss, and here's your take profit. You actually have a real live trade in your evaluation count in ACAP.
Okay.
And our goal was to enter right here, with a sell stop, but we were a little bit late, which is absolutely fine. So we put a sell limit. We wanted to come back up to our price and we expected to go back down.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our 10 EMA up here. If we get a little rejection off the 10 EMA, that is what we're expecting. We would like to see it do and continue on down.
Okay.
And I'm so glad you actually got to see that sell limit order and why that's valuable and why I kind of push that out from time to time. We didn't have to chase the trade, but here's where if we did do the sell limit, we could, okay, we feel like we missed it here. Well, let's wait for it to come back up, interact with the 10 EMA again. And all we would do is just enter our sell stop or sell stop limit at the same price with the same stop limit and the same target. And when it comes back down, we'd be filled again.
Yeah. Okay. What was my question? Oh, well, I had stocks set up in ACAP. Maybe I didn't. I'm not sure why when I got back into my 8 cap, it didn't show, because I'd cleared all that out and just entered the ones at that time that I was following. Is it maybe it's something I just didn't do properly or what have you. I probably need to go back and look at that video if I can find it. But that was in that email also, so I can figure that out. And
Yeah,
well,
and the only other thought that I would have would be, I didn't pay attention to what browser you got. I think there are, I want to say like maybe Mozilla. There's a couple browsers where your savings won't be retained in the ACAP, where some browsers they will. So that's just the next question I would ask is like, what browser are you using? Because
Edge.
you're using Edge. I think with Edge, it should have saved. So
All right. Well, I'll try it again, and if I have an issue, I can
yep.
go from there. But so right now we are not in the money, but we're in the trade.
Yeah, that is true.
Looks like it might bounce off the BWAP area. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, is this our retest of the low of the day, and Tesla's could it do that? Yes, it could. You know, kind of what was our original plan? We got a big gap. I feel pretty comfortable that this is our, you know, high of the day here. We're gonna see.
Yeah.
We're gonna see. 10 EMA is, you know, it did break down through our VWAP, so that was a good bias, you know, conditions for us to enter the trade. Yes, is it curving back up a little bit? It is right now. That's normal price action.
Right.
Here's a bear candle. This wick right here is lower than this area right here. And the VWAP is kind of rejecting this candle right now. So I'm very comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable where we are.
Let's see. Oh, one question. We both thought that maybe we had heard something that Jeremy had told us early on, and I don't know if it's correct or not, but where each of the if all of the moving averages are below the 10, is there any significance to that, or vice versa, if they're all above the 10 at any given point? Is that necessary?
Yeah, it can be very powerful, because if your 10 EMA is above everything, you pretty much know that your trend overall, regardless of that snapshot in time, the direction of the candles, your trend is bullish, because your 10 is above your other EMAs. Specifically, we're looking for a 10 pointing up, above the 20, which is pointing up, which is above the 50, which is pointing up, which is above the 100, pointing up, which is above the 200. And when they're all pointing up and they're stacked in order like that, you have a trend.
So in other words, early on in the day here, that's pretty much what we had.
Yes. Where it started giving us, where we exercise some patience, and we understand Tesla is very volatile.
Partially filled.
Order filled. All our EMAs are spread apart and pointed up for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, candles. Absolutely. But you notice how that 10 EMA kind of turns and points down. It goes back up and points back down. And then both the 20 and the 10, come back down through the VWAP. And so now we're looking for the 10 and the 20, for the 10 to stay below the 20. pointed down and the 20 to stay pointed down. And ultimately,
Well, this candle is, it looked like a bear first, but it's shaping up to be a bull again.
yep, it sure is. It sure is. And that's a higher low right there. So
But
that's
we
a lot
still
of,
may see, yeah,
a lot of
Go ahead.
bullish sentiment. Pretty comfortable here because again, our pre-market high, you know, there's a lot of
resist.
yeah, a lot of consolidation touch points. That's the word I was looking for. A lot of touch
Touch
points
Yeah,
through there right now.
right.
If it does break up through here and then comes down, this becomes support. That's where I'm going to get a little concerned. If it just comes
Yeah.
up and, you know, kind of wicks through it, becomes resistance and can come back down, then we're comfortable.
Right. We're
This is a
still
little lower.
seeing
Yeah.
lower highs and lower lows. And so this is still within the pattern so far that we've seen, you know, up to this point.
Yep.
So we're bound to get a bear candle here, I think, and get back down into that green and I think I answered all the. So you'll check on the session number.
I sure will. Let me write that down.
Okay. One other thing, when you right click this remove all drawings, that would remove all my lines that I've put in and everything, right?
Drawings, but not indicators. But like your long or your short tool, that is considered a drawing. So it would remove your short tool. And then
Okay.
your previous day high, your previous day low, your horizontal lines, those are considered drawings.
They are. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So any horizontal lines I've drawn, any arrows I've drawn,
Yep.
this thing that'll come off with just clicking that. Okay.
Sure will. Same
All
thing
right.
over here. If you look at this little trash can, as you can do the same thing right there.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, I've been doing it one by one, and I couldn't figure out how to. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of liking these lower highs are speaking a little bit louder to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the idea, you know, that 1, 2, you know, these higher lows right here also, but we really want to see, this breached here. If we can't breach this right here, then I'd be concerned that we'd have a sideways trade the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But this is really the reason we are bearish, you know, at this point right here. And again, very concerned with the big gap up on Monday, and there's a lot of opportunity to fill that gap below the low of the day from Monday. And
Right.
that was really my premise of going into Tesla today. And we're just going to kind of.
Okay, you just said below the low of the day from Monday. Did you mean below the high of the day from Monday?
Actually, below the low of the day. We're a long ways from that. But.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does that make sense? We may never get there today. And it may be later this week. That's where the daily chart is so valuable, because over the next few days, I do expect that gap to be filled.
Yeah.
So I will be looking for a break below Monday's low over the next few days. And when that condition starts presenting itself, I'm going to get very, very excited to be a bear. But it may be a couple days before we actually see that. But that goes into that why we study those daily charts so well. And we got 3 to 5 that we're looking at, because
now if
there are
it's
certain conditions on those daily charts that we like, you know what, I'm going to wait. If this, then this. So big
If it
gap on
gets, if it gets down to that low of the day and only tests it and comes, since Tesla overall is looking bullish, you would be looking to go long, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, I wanted to breach that low, come back and retest, consolidate, confirm that that will be a resistance and go below. If
Right.
it says, hey, no, I'm Tesla. I've got
Right.
a new support area now, then I got to stay long. But
Right.
breaching that low and then seeing what that price does following that is really going to be fun to see what plays out. And that gives us an edge because we actually have a plan of what we're going to do when certain things do follow some normal price activity, meaning there's a gap, that needs to be filled on the daily chart. And I wait until those conditions are present. And then I play it out, and that's what becomes fun. So even if it's 2 or 3 trades this week on Tesla and not every day, there's wisdom in that,
Yeah.
because we've got about 3 stocks, maybe 2 to 3 stocks where we've got this type of analysis. And like today with Tesla, we could have maybe said, hey, you know what? I'm going to create an alert. I'm going to just maybe wait if Tesla until it starts getting near that low of the day from Monday. Otherwise, I'm going to focus on Amazon or Meta,
Right.
or something like that. Those are definitely some strong strategies so that you trade most of the days, but only in accordance with Dave's plan.
Right. Okay. Looks like it's kind of consolidating here, somewhat tightening up.
Yep. You're about ready to go back into money here in a second. All right. There you go.
Well, I mean, we're only doing a share, so I'm fine just putting in a, if we got to, I'll let you direct based on your schedule here.
Yeah. I entered a trade myself, so we're both real world.
Okay.
I went ahead and did a sell stop at the exact same entry point that you did. So we're both in it. So I'm not in a hurry to jump off and go trade anything. I'll just kind of trade with you here and we'll kind of talk it through. So I'm adhering to my daily routine right now.
Okay.
And I gotta admit, I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this. This is valuable to me, Dave. This is not a burden. It
Nice.
forced me to explain, hey, why am I doing what I'm doing? And forces my learning. So this is the teacher in me that I really enjoy. But I'm in this with you. So I'm kind of putting my own where my mouth is right now, and we're going to play this out.
All righty.
I for me, if I can't, break below this again, I'm going to probably look at taking some profits in there again. I do have a lot of meetings later this morning, but I don't want to get stuck in this sideways slop all day long, so I haven't breached the previous day low or high yet, but I think we got a little opportunity to make a little bit of profit here, and I believe our risk to reward is valid, based on this area here.
Right.
I just want to make sure I'm a lot more comfortable when we don't make higher highs.
Yeah.
Another thing I kind of like is this volume down here on the bottom, substantially less. This bear volume is a lot less than this bull volume.
Yeah.
And when the volume is substantially less and does kind of trap the bears, that's pretty bearish bias also. That's fairly advanced conversation. There's a great video that Jeremy Newsom has on the volume, but when your volume is less.
So that, in other words, that,
go
go ahead. Well, that last bull volume bar there, you're saying it's larger than the previous two bear bars, and so that's trapping going on.
I was mainly kind of looking at these, the bear volume here, how it's these are a lot less than this bull volume.
Right.
And,
right.
And these bear candles, essentially trapped,
Okay, that's what
so less volume to trap, a much larger volume, is very weighty for that particular, the bears in this scenario, because we got less bear volume actually trapping a higher volume of previous bulls. That's pretty bearish.
Okay. I think
not an absolute, but that is when we start, hey, what does this volume really mean? We got some sideways consolidation going on, but my bears are actually kind of maintaining control with less volume than the bulls volume. I like that from a short perspective, a bearish perspective.
Okay. Well, it's definitely it's kind of penny. I kind of trying to come up with an analogy. I don't know if I did, but it's like a spring that's being tightened up as you get into these little areas like we're at right now, where it's just going to pop one way or the other.
Compressor. Have you heard Jeremy use that term, compressor?
Compression. Yeah. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
And what's kind of cool here also, I don't know if this bull candle here really officially closed below your 10 EMA, but our entry criteria was kind of reset, with these candles above the 10 EMA. But again, another, it's kind of shaping up as another good entry point, right in here, from a 10 EMA perspective. Again, a lower high here, bull candle kind of interacting with the 10 EMA, closing below the 10 EMA.
Yeah.
You break through here, that means all these bears here, all these bulls are trapped once we break through this point right in this area. It's now about momentum, 10 EMA. We are bears. The more bulls we see trapped, the more momentum we're going to have to hit our target. That's a lot of the stuff we're looking at now. So EMAs are just telling us what did kind of play out or is playing out in real time. But now we can start looking at and understanding the emotion and the sentiment of these traps. That gives us confidence that we did in fact enter a good trade, because the more of these bulls and these green candles that are getting trapped is going to increase, this compression. The more bulls that get trapped, they're getting frustrated, and when it gets ready to break here in a minute, we could have 2 to 3 bear candles drop pretty fast and give us a new low of the day.
Right.
Some of those bulls will be, buying back, either getting stopped out or covering because they're like, oh, I was wrong. And when they do sell to cover, then that's going to cause it to go back up. And that's, again, we don't panic, understanding that the sentiment is the bulls recognizing they're wrong. They're going to buy back those shares, which is going to cause the price to go back up. It doesn't mean the direction is changing. It's just that they are covering their long positions.
Right. Well, this looks good here right now.
It does, we got a share in the money.
Yeah.
A share earned is a share saved is a share earned.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll be Hathaway someday. Maybe that'll be a Bitcoin. Here we go. Let's keep going down, because right now the bulls and the bears are like, are the bulls going to get trapped here? And there's a bunch of bulls getting trapped. So to take out all these bulls is significant. Is this? Is there a little beauty test going to go on here as these bulls are buying to cover, or do we got a little momentum to take us down? We don't know.
Yeah.
We just got to kind of let it play out. Again, a little higher low potentially, but we definitely have lower highs. Our 10 EMA is pointing down. It is our 10 EMA. Go back to your question earlier. Our 10 EMA is pointing down. I'm sorry, your blue is your 10 and your red is your 20. So your 10 is your 20. They're both pointing down. They have both crossed down through the VWAP.
Right.
So that's good affirmation that we're in the right direction right now.
Okay.
And this is, again, goes back to why do we talk about VWAP? Not only for the reasons we just mentioned with our 10 and our 20 down through it and pointing down, but look at all this touch points with the VWAP, and it essentially has rejected our candles this morning. So now our VWAP is resistance. And so whenever our candles are trading below VWAP, and VWAP is in fact resistance, we are short on the trade.
Right. Well, this all looks pretty good right here. Now, would you, if you got down 50% of that, where that lower bull candle is, right, you consider just, continuing to, I'm only talking about a share, but
yeah. And that's a great question, Dave, because there's a great opportunity, if you've got 1,000 shares, to take 50% profit. Absolutely.
Or move the stock. What do you prefer to do? Do you have a preference on that, or how,
I prefer to take 50% profit. Because again, my overall plan is I believe there's a big gap. There's a lot. If we break below this 200, and then we break below the pre-market low, and we keep going towards Monday's previous day's low, I like to be in the trade. But if I do take 50% of profit right here, now I've just guaranteed myself, I'm paying the bills. It was a very good day trading. Regardless of what happens beyond the 50% mark, I could look for a good solid pivot point to lower my stop and ultimately try to get to where I'm in this area and I'm in the money, and I can walk away. Guaranteed winner for the day. I'm not there yet. I would, and I think especially if we can break this area right here, I think our next strategy is to mitigate risk by lowering our stop, probably slightly above this pre-market high area. So now we've then reduced our risk to just maybe slightly more than half of an R.
But you're saying normally you would just go ahead and take 50, I mean, you can't split a share, so, you would take 50% of your
Yep.
profits
So
normally,
I'm gonna go into my broker right now, and I'm just gonna take half my quantity. So I'll take half my shares, and I'm just gonna change my limit order to basically, I want to just whatever that low of that candle is right there, which I think I'm tracking that to be approximately 278.78.
yeah,
So I'll take 278.78, and then I'll update, and I will take a profit right there if I can just get wicked into this area right here. And that would be taking, 50% win right there. We need a wick right there for me to at least get 50% profit on half of my shares. Take half of an R on half of my shares, which
okay, well, if we see that, maybe we can at least, well, we can't do that. So we can't do that in our situation.
you cannot, not with
right.
one share. But
Right.
but from an exercise perspective, if you had a volume of 100 shares,
Take 50 and
yep, you'd go in there.
How would you do that, Jake, on here on 8cap?
Take double click on this row where you should get something that's going to come up to allow you to modify order. Just double click there. Okay, I think it because of your number of shares, it may not give you, but you see how it's kind of modified right there. Well, you'll have an option for volume. Let's say if you had volume of 1, where you can make it like 0.5 and change your stop loss and top profit. The biggest takeaway is you're modifying this particular order. So if you change your volume, your stop loss or your profit on that number of shares based on whatever volume you change it to, you've now just set it up to where you're taking profit on half. It's a little different than
order partially filled.
so I just
Order cancel.
did make 50. I hit my target on 50%. So I did close out half of my order, just as we discussed. That's
Okay.
what you would have done utilizing this tool right here. Double click to modify your position and just
Okay.
shrink that stop loss or your take profit to where whichever direction it's going to go, it's going to get you out.
Okay. I think I get it.
Yeah, that I need to do a separate little class on that, because that's one thing I don't care about 8cap is you really can't just go in there, change quantity and just add another buy limit or sell limit
Yeah.
to modify the order. So we need to probably clarify that.
Whoa. We're gonna hit our target, I think.
I know it. Did we enter a good trade here?
Yeah, I think we did. I always enter a good trade with Jake. So far, 2 for 2.
I got this recorded, so I'm gonna pull that as an advertisement and just I'll take all the other stuff away, but I'm gonna capture that right there. But that's one reason I appreciate the opportunity to coach, because it causes me to slow down and really evaluate what it is, because I don't want to teach you stuff from the hip. But no kidding, if I was to, it was my own, it's my own billfold now. It's my own family. I want to set it up for success, and I'm in the trade with you here also. So I should pay you to spend this time with me. And you see how
Yeah.
this works? You know, that's the joy of kind of what we're doing. And
Oh, we're
you're
down
done-
below the,
Go
down
ahead.
below the 200 now. Yeah.
We are, and that you know Jake's perspective of that is significant. Scroll out. Let's just see if we can get about 3 or 4 days there, because this is where I kind of want to have you see that gap also, because this is where, you know, if you had more shares, you take maybe a little profit now, but do you want to start nudging your target down a little bit? Because look at your pre-market low. You know, again, that's how far below the 200 it came.
Yeah.
That this is a very viable target area. And then again, here's Monday's low. You know, and that's what we kind of got highlighted here in green. But if you were to grab this and scroll to where you can even see down a little bit lower, if Tesla breaks this area here, what is stopping it? There's a big gap here.
Right.
Not saying it will today, but I will keep my eye on it for sure.
So that way back here, it looks like between set, it gapped up this day also. It gapped up 2 days in a row. Is that what it did? Like here,
See, Monday was definitely a gap up.
back on 30 June.
Yes. Yeah, Friday. Friday was, yes, it did gap up, not a huge relative to the previous day's high. You know, Thursday's high, Friday did gap up, but it didn't like clear Thursday's high like Monday cleared Friday's high. But it absolutely, yes, there was a gap up.
Yeah, okay.
And it was a gap up blowing away from that 200 simple moving average that I really like to watch. And I'm waiting for it to come back down to the 200. And so this right here is interesting area for me. Is the 200 going to become resistance, or did it just retest the 200? That we don't know yet. So that's to be determined, because again, this area now, is this the low of the day? And we just retest the low of the day and Tesla's going to take off and go up? It's Tesla. I have no way of telling you right now.
Can we go ahead and just for exercise purposes, move the stop into the money?
You definitely can. My recommendation, or what I'm going to do, is probably move to this pre-market high. I'm a little hesitant to go here quite so early because of my 10 EMA right here. In other words, this would be normal price action to come up here and then go back down.
Yeah, right. Okay, gotcha.
But because we did establish a new low here, this validated this as a very strong and healthy pivot point. So bringing your stop anywhere into this area is absolutely wisdom and a good move at this point. Yes, sir.
Okay, how do I do that over here on ACAP?
Okay, let's get our price first. Let's go back to Trading View. And
okay.
And so just you know, you might even just, you know, what is this price right here? You know, your pre-market high, is that 281.07?
That's the 279. No, 281.08, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to ACAP.
Okay.
And then double click down in here. Let's bring up to modify this order. Oh, hopefully, or you might just have to click on the stop loss section. double click right here.
Oh, right here,
Yeah,
or just hit that arrow?
um, actually double click right on 282 right here. On 282.28. We should have a window pop up. There we go. Change this.
Right here,
Yeah.
okay. 281.08. Okay,
It's not giving us anything live, is it? Why is it not? Excuse me, I gotta clear my throat. We're modifying the position. All we're doing is changing the stop loss. Why is it not coming alive here? All right, hit this X, close out of this again one more time. Double click again, like on the price. I'm just not getting the window that I want to see. Double click right in here. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Okay. This is where you could change the volume to whatever you want. If you wanted to reduce the volume in half, you only have the one. All you're going to do is, in this scenario, is change your stop loss to that number that we come up with, and you're going to we don't want to close. If we're going to sell, that's higher. Go to type market, and let's change that to pending, because we don't want to do a market execution right now. So let's change that to pending.
okay,
And that's going to be a buy stop, because we if the price goes up, we're going to buy back the shares that we borrowed. So our type is going to be a buy stop.
I stop.
Okay, and now let's is this a new order or a modify? Dave, this is a new order.
Okay. Okay,
I
so
don't
we
know.
want to X that, want
Yeah, exit out of here.
I haven't changed anything yet, right? I mean,
No, you have not, you have not.
okay. Well, we can let it go if you want to.
Yeah, that, I don't know if it's because of the 0.01 share, but what I'm looking at doing is we should be able to just click on this bar down here, and it brings up an opportunity to modify that particular order. And
Yeah.
you just tighten up your stop loss and your profit to where it's going to trigger you out after you change that volume, and then you have the remaining volume in to continue writing down. That's what we're after.
Right.
So, Fiddle, I'd love to have captured all this in one sitting here.
Yeah.
That's where I want to crack the code on getting the simulation accounts through the real life trading for ACAP. Because I think it's extremely valuable for you to have been doing actually a lot of back trading on a simulation account where you work out those bugs before.
Yeah.
And my struggle is trading in my ACAP account because I got my real world account, but I really want to invest more time in ACAP to get through my evaluation. Because then I want to just run some automated trades in that for some passive income generation while I get to enjoy, the day trading itself, but just to kind of scale things a little bit. So those are two takeaways for me, is I want to see if I can create a couple, maybe 5 to 7 minute videos that are very clear and give us those tools to review.
Yeah. So
All right,
don't do anything.
Let's go back to your trading view real quick, and let's see see what Tesla's doing here, because there's a little bullish sentiment going on here. I was excited with this red candle wicking off the 10, but I didn't like the fact that I got a bull candle kind of bouncing back up off the 200. So that's got me a little.
We can go ahead and just, how would I sell that one share prior to any, do I have to cancel the previous order and?
Yeah,
just
you can
put it in the
definitely
market?
double. Yeah, when you double click and bring up that box, you will have a close order option, and that's exiting right then and there at market. That is probably the most powerful tool in ACAP, or the little X where you have your profit on the right side. You just click on the X and you can exit the trade really quick.
Hey, bear with me.
You got it.
Do
Not,
you know what I have to do here? Because I'm gonna have Penny try to fiddle with something, because I cannot get that Zoom stuff to. It's really annoying.
Okay.
How'd you do that?
I just dragged it down.
Oh, I didn't know you could just drag it. She's a little bit more adept at some of that stuff than me. All right, what am I doing?
All right, just this X right here. If you wanted to exit the trade right now, you just click on this X right here. You're
I'm not
closing.
seeing where you're pointing. Oh. Click on this X.
Yep, and that will actually close the trade. You should get a pop-up right here. Do you want to just have that automatically close going forward? You'd have to put a check mark there. But if you wanted to exit the full trade without modifying number of shares,
Yeah,
that'll do it right there.
just
You
okay.
click
What do
on
I
that.
hit
Yeah,
now?
just
Yep.
accept terms and conditions.
I thought, but I don't want that going forward necessarily.
You have to click that.
I have to
just
click.
know- Yep. Just know
Okay.
that, because this is one-click trading for this particular execution. If you want to close the trade with one click, you acknowledge here, it's letting you know, hey, one-click trading. Are you sure? This one I recommend yes, because what an excellent way to get out of a trade really quick right there.
Okay, just hit okay.
Yep, yes, sir.
All right. So what's it indicate? What does that, where does that leave us now? What is it?
We are, I mean, like right now, you're in the money. We've got, I mean, I can make sure I understand your question. Are we talking
Well,
specifically?
does that show here on 8 caps? So
You're still in the trade. Current price is right here. It's moving.
oh, I'm in
Your
the
price
trade.
yeah, you
I
should.
thought
Yes,
we
sir.
did. I thought we just got out of it.
acknowledged- Yeah, if you click this X now, you're not going to get that pop-up going forward. You have accepted the terms and conditions on one-click trading. And so if you click this
Oh.
X now, you're out of the trade.
Oh,
You won't get the
Okay.
pop-up.
so now you're out.
Now
Now
I'm out.
you are out. And you can click here on your history over here on the left, bottom left, kind of see exactly what transpired there. So looks like your profit of 41 cents. So you're a profitable trader.
Nice.
Dave, yeah.
Hey, we got
So-
that count up to 50,041 cents. Nice.
That's
All right.
That's exactly
Okay.
right.
All right. Well,
Now, what other ways can you get out besides the one click? Like if you, like what would? Is that I mean, if you're wanting to get out before it hits your stop loss or whatever, your profit margin, that's the only way to get out of it.
The
Order partially filled.
let's see here. I'm just clearing up a couple things real quick. So I'll make sure I understood the question, Penny.
You could.
'Cause where if we go back
She's
to
just-
this,
yeah,
ahead.
she's just wondering how else do you get out of the trade besides that one click thing? I guess that's the best way to do it if you want to get out, like, out of the whole position.
Yeah, let's go back to this trade button. Oh, we don't have a live trade here, darn it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, because again, we just double click on the order itself, and
Yeah.
I'm looking for that window that comes up where I can modify that
Right.
order. I don't create a new order, but I want to
Okay.
modify that order, and I can tighten that stop loss, or I can tighten that take profit to where then price action, it's going to trigger either way, and it will exit me out. That's
Okay.
the more controlled method. The other one is, hey, I want out now, that X. So that's the second method. But what's real important that I think we were able to properly demonstrate is, hey, if I've got, you know, a volume of 2, and I do want to take profits of volume 1, we want to be able to go in and modify that order, adjust that volume, tighten that stop and that profit just on that volume of that order, not creating a new order. We hit OK, and then we'll take profit, or it's going to, because if it goes back up, it'll hit our stop loss to exit, you know, 50% of our shares, or it's actually going to go down and increase our profit slightly. But again, we're happy either way. But we got it so tight that when it does go up or down, it's going to exit that new volume. And it's maybe half, a tenth, 25%, whatever it is we want to take profit on for that particular trade. I hope that makes sense.
Well, yeah,
The Windows did not give me what I wanted to be able to show, and I don't know if it's because of the 0.01 or not.
yeah, exactly. Okay, well, what do you suggest we go from here for the next session?
Let's go back. I'm going to share screen real quick, if that's all right.
Yep, no, that's great.
Hey,
I stopped sharing on my end.
okay, I'm going to see if I can't keep my trading view a little bit. Where I really see you guys going, and I think it goes back to kind of the foundation is here. I'm looking at the daily chart, and I'm just going to kind of use Tesla, kind of giving you an example of everything we'd kind of talked about before. This daily chart is loaded full of goodies. So the handful of stocks that you and Penny are interested in trading routinely, one of the reasons we do kind of preach, hey, don't have your watch list, 20, 30 stocks, have 5 to 6, and if maybe even 3 to 4. And really, my watch list seems huge over there. I'm clicking through it once in a while, but I really focus on my mind. I can't do the type of analysis that we did this morning on Tesla on multiple stocks at one time. It's just a couple, but I have certain conditions that I feel I'm going to have more opportunities with based on the daily analysis and the pre-market analysis. I was heavily biased towards Tesla this morning because I really, we got to back up here a little bit. I'm just kind of blocking out today's activity. This is what we had this morning. I was really curious if I was going to break this low here. So here's that Monday's previous day's low. So on this daily chart, you can just go through and understand the gap scenario that we talked about. And I just jumped all over on you right there. I've got to be the most confusing instructor you've ever had. Um,
No,
so here's the low. Obviously, I'm going to finish this thought.
yep,
I was biased here. Here's the gap that I kept referring to.
right,
Okay. If today's price with Tesla was to breach this low and this was to become resistance, look at all
Yeah.
this space. There was makes my mouth water a little bit. We're just not really gone there yet. But I don't think it's a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So my analysis each day is going to be kind of watching what Tesla does the next few days. And I believe it's going to come down and fill this gap.
okay,
Got a lot of activity here in the gap that is not that old. So my analysis could be completely wrong. Tesla may just retest here and continue up. We'll see. But this is where the daily charts are so important. Okay, let's just peel the onion back. And this is really the second thought that I wanted to get at before I switched on you midstream. So here, let's look at this candle here. So this is 29 June. Okay, indecision, but bear candle. It gaps up, breaches the previous day's high. A lot of bullish sentiment. So opportunities to go long there. And actually we could go all the way up to this orange line. And then it basically, I'm sorry. Yeah. Here's your retest, red candle opened above, a slight little retest, come down. But it really was a bear gap and go. It gapped up higher. And so this ran up most of the day. So very bullish. So red candle, previous day, gapped up. That's bull, gap and go. So before I even know what's going off this candle, you notice how I've got previous day candle bull written here? Because Monday, previous day's candle was bull. If we would have had something gap up above, that would have been a bull retest. If it would have gapped below a green candle, that would have been a bearish, gap and go. So Thursday, here's red candle. I'm writing that down. Pre-market session opens up. I know well before the market actually opens that, hey, it looks like I'm going to be gapping up following a red candle. That's bull, gap and go. There's my bias. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, let's look at Wednesday, 28 June. Okay, previous day candle or 28 June, bull. Again, gaps up. Opening at the bottom of this body of this red candle is where it opened.
yeah,
But following a bull candle, there's my retest. It comes down. Again, a bullish, but retests. And it comes back up. There's my high of the day. And it actually still closes above the previous day's high. But previous day candle was bull. It gapped up. So bull retests. And here's that retest that we're talking about. It retests, it comes down, retests on the daily chart, it retests the 10 EMA. Okay, that's kind of cool.
yeah,
Let's back up even here. Let's look at 27 June. Okay, so what does 28 June Wednesday look like following Tuesday's activity? I'm like, okay, I got a very bullish candle. It looks like I wicked down on my daily chart down to my 20. A slight gap down from
but
the
not much.
day
That's not a,
closing. It's not a gap. It's not a gap, but it
Not
just
really.
opened down right below the previous day's high. So what's cool about this trade is I'm like, okay, what's it going to do with the previous day's high? So it come up, it breached the previous day's high, consolidated retest. I took a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA and rode this up bullish most of the day. So again, it's kind of a bear retest. This little wick, it retested and kind of went up right there. I'm sorry, bull. The very bullish sentiment. Price kind of opened about where it closed the day prior. We're not really dealing with a gap situation here. And this is where the previous day's high or the high on Tuesday became the area of interest to me to determine, is it going to stay bullish above the previous day's high, or is the previous day's high going to be resistance and push it back down? Once this high on this day was established as support, I was comfortable to go long on this day.
Yeah.
And this is
Okay.
where your daily charts really feed into your pre-market session, and you create a bias for that day, or the probability of it behaving a certain way does go up when you understand the daily chart.
Okay. That's good. All right. If you could, the whole gap go retest, the terminology there, it does get a little jumbled and confusing, and gapping up or gapping down, and what am I looking at? And I don't know if you can mainly with the gapping up, if you could just, not now, but maybe shoot me something this week that just a clear definition of what that is.
Sure will. I sure will. And on your real life trading dashboard, your training material,
Yeah.
let me know if you do not have access to the Gap Up PDF. It's a short read, but very, very eloquently laid out.
Oh,
If you
okay.
do not have access to that, I need to know, so that I could definitely create you a specific class on that.
Okay. No, I'll look there.
Yeah, look there, let me know, because then I will love to answer any questions you've got on that. But I can't give you anything better than what Jeremy Newsom has on that dashboard.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I forget that there's stuff there to look at too. So yeah, that'll work. Okay. Okay. Well, we did our live trade, and we escaped the hard breach, and right now I just need to now, I don't know if I'm ready to get in here and do any. I feel like I just want to back trade some more, and there's not a big rush, right?
No. There's probably more wisdom in what you just said right there than you realize. When you can talk through, you should lead a session, talk me through what you're doing and why.
Yeah.
And when you understand why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to have the confidence you need to then do it.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll focus on that for the next one.
Yeah, you're learning a new language. You've got to establish all those connections in your brain with all this new stuff.
Yeah.
Because right now you're going to have just one thing, and you're going to focus on that one thing, and it's not going to work. And we're going to look at the other three things that said otherwise. You're like, yeah, I got it. Your brain making those connections, you're going to look at them all at the same time, and it's going to help your decision making. So you're learning a new language. You got to define. You've got to exercise, practice, get those connections matured in your brain, because you are learning a new profession that requires quick decision making. And until you practice, rehearse, and get your brain wired to see that way, paper trade.
Okay. All right. Do you want to set up?
Coming. Yeah, I've got a new calendar. I actually did that this weekend. So let me send the calendar link to you and Penny, and way we'll just kind of set it up accordingly. If there's happens to be something that does not work on there, let me know. But right now I've got it kind of open 5 a.m. Well, I shouldn't say that. Going late at night, but I got weekends and everything. I've just kind of blocking out this time. I am going to Anchorage daughter softball. I've got some practice up in the Fairbanks, but I've got weekends, evenings wide open. So
Okay, and if
So-
you just confirm the session, and I think that was the main thing I was interested in, just to see where we're at there. And I don't know if there's anything else. I think that was the main thing. So, okay.
That sounds good.
Okay, Jay.
all right, you guys have
All
a
right.
blessed day. And,
Thank you. You too, sir. All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.